love that chocolate. Often, children twist their nose away from milk, but drop a spoonful of powdered chocolate into their milk. They'll snatch the glass from your hand and gulp it down at once. The best birthday gift they would love to have is a box of candies or chocolate bars. Not only children, even grown-ups love that chocolate for its mouth-watering aroma. Now, where does all this chocolate come from? Chocolate comes from the cacao tree, which is grown in the tropics. It grows best in the coastal lands. The chief producing areas are West Africa, the West Indies, and South America. More than half of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa. The trees are grown from seed and have to be raised carefully as they are very delicate. When young, they need protection from direct sun and wind. They are provided the shade of other trees which also act as a windbreak. Cacao trees do not bear their full crop until they are about 12 to 15 years old. When grown on plantations, they are pruned to 25 feet. In the wild, they can grow to 50 feet and live about 60 years. A feature of the tree is that the flowers grow on the trunk, not on the branches of the tree. These flowers grow throughout the year. When the fruit is ripe, large reddish-brown pods hang all over the tree. It takes about 6 months for the pods to ripen. The ripe pods are 6 to 10 inches long. Each pod contains 20 to 40 seeds or beans that are about the size of almonds. There are usually 2 harvests during the year, one large and one small. The pods are harvested whenever they are ripe. The picker uses a sharp knife to cut the ripe pods from the trees. The pods are collected into heaps and are then split open in order to remove the beans. At this stage, the beans are covered with a thick white pulp. They don't have the same mouth-watering flavor you discover when you bite into a chocolate cookie. A lot of processing is needed to get that marvelous chocolate taste. First of all, the pulp has to be removed from the beans. The bitter-tasting seeds and pulp are heated or placed in the hot sun. The heat turns the pulp into liquid that is drained from the beans. After the beans are thoroughly dried, they turn a dark chocolate color and are shipped to candy factories all over the world. The flavor from these beans is similar to the sweet smell of chocolate in a candy bar. However, the beans are not ready yet to eat. When chocolate beans arrive at factories, they are cleaned thoroughly. Then they are roasted in a revolving oven which cracks them. The shells are removed with the help of a current of air. Now we are left with edible pieces called nibs. These nibs contain about 54% fat called cocoa butter. They are ground between rollers which free the fat which is of a brown color. The fat is then treated in powerful presses which turn it into a hard cake. Some of the fat is allowed to squeeze out of the press. The hard cake is then crushed and sifted to have the familiar brown cocoa powder. In the manufacture of eating chocolate, the roasted nibs are crushed, mixed with sugar, and made into a paste. Dried cow milk is added to the mixture if milk chocolate has to be made. Usually, vanilla or other flavorings are also added. Machines turn this paste into thin, dry flakes. These flakes are then put in big oblong troughs. In each of these troughs, a granite roller is pushed backwards and forwards for several days. The chocolate now becomes a fine, rich liquid. This liquid is then run into polished molds where it is left to solidify. Chocolate bars are a good source of minerals and vitamin B. They add a lot of calories to your diet. One small chocolate bar has about the same number of calories as 2 bananas or 150 grams of cheese. But chocolate, like coffee, contains caffeine, which can keep you awake when your body needs rest. So beware, don't eat too much of chocolate. When Columbus returned from his voyages to Central America in the 16th century, he brought back to Spain some cocoa beans and also the secret of a drink made by the Aztecs who lived there. The drink was made from crushed cocoa beans and water. It was known as chocolatl. The Aztecs drank it cold. They flavored it with spices and seasoned it with pepper. The Spaniards prepared their drink in a similar way, but mixed it with sugar instead of pepper. They kept the secret of this drink for about 100 years. Then, in the 17th century, knowledge of this wonderful drink spread to France and the rest of Europe. It became a popular drink among the rich. Chocolate houses sprang up all over London and other European cities. Around 1700, the English improved the drink by adding milk to it. In the beginning, chocolate was used in drinks in the form of powder only. In the middle of the 19th century, chocolate began to be made for eating and for coating sweets. In 1876, the Swiss learned how to blend milk and sugar with chocolate. Thus, they made milk chocolate, which has now conquered the world.